19th Street between Broadway and Santa Fe. It's one of the busiest roads in the metro Oklahoma City area. Between 37 and 40,000 vehicles travel that span of roadway every day.
19th Street is an especially challenging opportunity.
Michael Hoffner is the traffic engineer who oversees 19th Street. But Hoffner is more than just any other traffic engineer. He's a third-generation traffic engineer, following in the footsteps of his grandfather and father. He's also a Moore resident, and that means he takes a very personal interest in the traffic flow on 19th Street.
You know, I've been working on 19th Street for 5 years now or so, probably trying to maintain the traffic signal timing along there. But it's also something I drive almost daily to and from work, and of course I utilize all the conveniences along 19th Street. It's my desire to make 19th Street as painless as possible.
Hoffner says managing traffic in a high-volume area like 19th Street begins with a very simple premise that anyone can understand.
No two vehicles can occupy the same space at the same time. So there's a limited number of vehicles that can be moved along a corridor given the number of lanes or the geometries at the intersections.
But things get complicated very quickly.
So what you run into is a lot of side street traffic that needs to get onto 19th Street, as well as a lot of traffic that is on 19th Street.
Hoffner says even with that problem, it's still relatively simple to manage a steady flow of traffic in one direction.
Let's say that in the westbound direction, telephone turns green at offset 0, and then the Fritz intersection turns green at offset 15. So that means 15 seconds later, from when the westbound green comes on at telephone, the westbound green at Fritz will come on 15 seconds later.
That synchronization of green lights becomes exponentially more difficult when you add the traffic heading in the other direction. Further complicating things is the problem of spacing for intersections, bringing all that side traffic onto 19th Street. Telephone Road, Riverwalk Drive, the West Frontage Road, the East Frontage Road, and Broadway Avenue are all very close together, but all have to be taken into account when synchronizing traffic signals. And Hoffner also has to take into account the time of day.
Because let's say in the PM peak hour, the majority of traffic are coming from I-35 going to the residences. So we want to get progression from I-35 going out to the outer parts of Moore, whereas in the AM we would give a little bit of favor to traffic coming in towards that I-35 interchange.
This is one of the computer models Hoffner uses to project traffic flow along 19th Street. Hoffner says it helps illustrate another challenge in keeping traffic flowing steadily between the West Frontage Road and the East Frontage Road.
If we're looking at the westbound direction, traffic is released at Broadway, and they'll generally get to East Frontage Road intersection. It'll release green as they approach, but then they'll have to sit at the West Frontage Road intersection for a few seconds. And the same is true in the other direction. This is a function of the spacing in between the two intersections and the amount of vehicles that need to be released or serviced on both the frontage roads.
In order to maintain effective control of traffic, the City of Moore and traffic engineering consultants constantly monitor all those traffic signals with the latest technology.
It's a state-of-the-art central software system. It maintains second-by-second communication. It sends alarms and warnings when the system's not operating correctly.
And in addition to technology, they take basic communication skills very seriously.
We also listen to the public. When the public has a complaint, they make a phone call or send a communication via email or something over the internet. We take those complaints very seriously, and we look into every single one of them.
Traffic engineers also do an annual review of the entire 19th Street corridor to determine if any adjustments need to be made. In the meantime, the newly opened 34th Street Bridge is already having a positive impact on 19th Street traffic.
We have estimated that 34th Street Bridge can potentially alleviate about 20 to 25% of the traffic off of the bridge on 19th Street. Right now, it just opened up within the last, month and a half. We're seeing about 4,000 vehicles a day on that bridge, which comes out to somewhere around, 10% of the traffic.
Hoffner says that percentage is expected to grow when 34th Street between Telephone Road and Santa Fe is reopened as a 4-lane street in early February. But there's even more good news in the future for more drivers.
In addition to that, ODOT has just begun phase 2 of a corridor study that ranges from 4th Street up in Moore to Robinson down in Norman. And we are part of that study, and we're taking a close look at every single interchange in that corridor and making recommendations as to what improvements could be made to improve the mobility through the entire corridor.
That study, which also includes participation by the City of Moore and City of Norman, should be completed within the next year or so.